Hamilton has made a final decision on the rest of the season. Verstappen Sr. makes a massive statement to Red Bull, and Audi is making a big reveal. When Lewis Hamilton said one simple word, he crushed the dreams of millions of Ferrari fans around the world. That word? No. And it might just reveal the biggest shock of the 2025 Formula One season. Picture this: seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, the most successful driver in F1 history, joins the most legendary team in motorsport, Ferrari, the dream team combination that should have been writing fairy tales. Instead, we're witnessing what might be one of the most disappointing partnerships in recent memory. Here's what nobody saw coming. Hamilton was asked after the Mexican Grand Prix whether he could still achieve a podium finish with Ferrari this season. His response wasn't just disappointing, it was brutally honest. One word that said everything: no. Think about that for a moment. This is Lewis Hamilton we're talking about. A driver who has stood on the podium 203 times in his career. Someone who has conquered every challenge thrown at him over nearly 2 decades in Formula One. And yet, with just 4 races remaining in the 2025 season, he's already accepting defeat on something as basic as a top 3 finish. The numbers tell a story that Ferrari fans probably don't want to hear. Hamilton currently trails his teammate Charles Leclerc by a massive 64 points in the championship standings. That's not just a gap, that's a chasm. For context, that's more than 2 race wins worth of points separating the 2 Ferrari drivers. But here's where it gets really interesting. Mexico looked like it might finally be Hamilton's breakthrough moment. Starting from 3rd position on the grid, everything seemed aligned for that elusive first Ferrari podium. The stars were aligning, the stage was set, and Hamilton appeared ready to deliver. Then, reality hit like a sledgehammer. A 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage against Max Verstappen sent Hamilton tumbling down to 8th place. Just like that, another opportunity vanished into thin air. Another weekend of what-ifs and almost maybes. What makes this situation even more fascinating is Hamilton's mindset through all of this adversity. Despite writing off his podium chances, he's not throwing in the towel completely. There's still fight left in the 7-time champion, even if his expectations have been dramatically recalibrated. His words after Mexico reveal a man who's learned to manage expectations while maintaining determination. He acknowledged that the team is slowly getting better, collectively improving bit by bit. But he also admitted uncertainty about what lies ahead, particularly with the Brazilian Grand Prix approaching. This brings us to a crucial point that many people are overlooking. Hamilton's individual struggles are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Ferrari is currently locked in an incredibly tight battle for 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes sits just 1 point behind them, while Red Bull lurks only 10 points back in 4th position. With 4 races remaining, Hamilton knows his role extends beyond personal glory. Every point he scores could be the difference between Ferrari finishing 2nd or potentially sliding down to 4th in the championship standings. That's millions of dollars in prize money and prestige hanging in the balance. The irony here is almost painful to consider. Hamilton left Mercedes, a team where podiums were routine, to join Ferrari with dreams of that elusive 8th World Championship. Instead, he finds himself in a position where even a single podium finish seems unreachable. It's a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in Formula One. What's particularly striking about Hamilton's admission is the complete absence of false hope or political correctness. In a sport where drivers often speak in carefully crafted sound bites, his blunt honesty stands out. There's no sugarcoating, no diplomatic hedging, NBP, just raw acceptance of a difficult reality. This situation raises bigger questions about Ferrari's ability to maximize their resources and talent. When you have Lewis Hamilton in your car and can't get him on the podium after 3/4 of a season, something fundamental isn't working. The partnership that looks so promising on paper has struggled to translate into on-track success, yet Hamilton refuses to let criticism derail his efforts. He's committed to continuing his training, continuing his preparation, and blocking out negative voices. This mental resilience has always been one of his greatest strengths. and he's drawing on it heavily during this challenging period. The Brazilian Grand Prix represents another opportunity, though Hamilton admits he doesn't know what to expect. This uncertainty has become a recurring theme in his Ferrari journey. ACP, a stark contrast to the confidence and predictability he enjoyed during his most successful years. As we approach the final stretch of the 2025 season, Hamilton's honest assessment serves as a reality check for everyone who expected immediate magic from this partnership. Sometimes in Formula One, even the most logical combinations take time to bear fruit. The question now is whether Hamilton and Ferrari can build something meaningful for the future, even if 2025 has been a year to forget. That single word, no, might have crushed immediate dreams, but it also revealed a champion who's learned to face harsh truths head-on while never completely giving up the fight. What if I told you that one of Formula One's most legendary designers just unlocked a secret weapon that could change everything for 2026? You're about to discover why Adrian Newey's arrival at Aston Martin isn't just another driver transfer, but potentially the most game-changing move in modern F1 history. Picture this. It's 2026, and the entire Formula One landscape has been completely transformed. New regulations have hit the sport like a tsunami, forcing every team to rebuild from scratch. But while others scramble to adapt, one team has quietly assembled what might be the perfect storm of talent, technology, and timing. Let me paint you the full picture of what's happening behind the scenes at Aston Martin right now, because this story goes way deeper than most people realize. When Adrian Newey shocked the motorsport world by leaving Red Bull Racing, everyone assumed it was just about money or creative freedom. But the real story is far more strategic. Newey didn't just join any team. He specifically chose Aston Martin for one crucial reason that nobody saw coming. Here's where it gets fascinating. Aston Martin has been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. They've secured not just Newey, but also formed an exclusive partnership with Honda for the 2026 regulation changes. Now, here's the kicker that sent shivers down the spine of every rival team principal. Newey and Honda aren't strangers meeting for the first time. They have history together, championship-winning history. During his time at Red Bull, Newey worked extensively with Honda's power units, helping secure multiple world championships. This existing relationship is what Andy Cowell, Aston Martin's boss, calls their secret weapon. Think about what this means in practical terms. When most teams are starting from zero, trying to build relationships between chassis designers and engine manufacturers, Aston Martin already has a proven partnership. Newey knows exactly how Honda thinks, how their engines behave, and most importantly, how to design a chassis that maximizes Honda's strengths while minimizing their weaknesses. But wait, there's more to this story that makes it even more intriguing. The 2026 regulations represent the biggest shakeup in Formula One since the hybrid era began. We're talking about completely different cars with active aerodynamics, triple the electrical output, and engines running on fully sustainable biofuel. It's not an evolution, it's a revolution. Most teams are treating this like a massive challenge, but Aston Martin sees it as their golden opportunity. They're essentially starting fresh while having the best possible foundation. It's like having the blueprint to a treasure map, while everyone else is still trying to figure out which direction is north. Andy Cowell revealed something particularly telling about their current situation versus their future prospects. Right now, as a Mercedes customer team, they receive what he calls a black box that they can't edit. They have to work with whatever Mercedes gives them, adapting their chassis to fit the engine rather than creating an integrated package. But with Honda, everything changes. They can work together from day one, optimizing both the power unit and chassis as a complete system. This integration advantage could be absolutely massive when the new regulations hit. Here's something that really caught my attention. While other engine manufacturers like Mercedes and Ferrari will be splitting their focus across multiple teams, Honda will be working exclusively with Aston Martin. This means every ounce of Honda's engineering expertise, every development hour, every breakthrough will benefit only one team. Some people might think having fewer teams means less data and track time, but Cowell sees it differently. With fewer teams, they can push development further before transitioning to production. They have more flexibility to make last-minute improvements right up until the deadline. The cultural alignment between these organizations is another factor that shouldn't be underestimated. Both Aston Martin and Honda are engineering-led companies that obsess over technical details. When Cowell describes their relationship, he talks about speaking the same language and sharing the same obsession with stopwatch times and race performance. But here's what really makes this partnership special. Newey isn't just designing a car, he's designing a complete system. His understanding of Honda's engineering philosophy means he can anticipate how the engine will behave and design the chassis accordingly. This level of integration typically takes years to develop, but they're starting with it already in place. The timing couldn't be more perfect either. Newey arrived at Aston Martin in March, giving him maximum time to focus entirely on the 2026 project. He's not distracted by current season performance or incremental updates. His entire focus is on creating something revolutionary for the new era. What makes this even more compelling is that successful teams in Formula One history have always been built on strong partnerships between chassis designers and engine manufacturers. Think McLaren Honda in the 80s, Ferrari's integrated approach, or more recently, Mercedes' domination of the hybrid era. Aston Martin is positioning themselves to be the next great partnership. The question isn't whether Aston Martin will be competitive in 2026, it's whether they'll be dominant. They have the design genius, the dedicated engine partner, the existing relationship, and the perfect timing. While their rivals are still figuring out how to work together, Aston Martin and Honda are already deep in development mode, leveraging years of shared experience. This could be the beginning of a new era in Formula One, with Aston Martin finally ascending to championship contention. The pieces are all in place. The relationship is proven, and the opportunity is unprecedented. 2026 can't come fast enough to see if this master plan pays off. What if I told you that one of the most shocking management changes in Formula One history just completely transformed the championship race? We're talking about a decision that has Max Verstappen having fun again for the first time in months, and it could be the key to an impossible fifth consecutive title. Red Bull Racing dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. Christian Horner, the man who built this dynasty, was suddenly out as team principal right after the British Grand Prix. But here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't just a management shuffle. This was a complete reset that has turned everything upside down. Laurent Mekies stepped in from Racing Bulls, and the change has been nothing short of extraordinary. We're witnessing a transformation so dramatic that even Jos Verstappen, Max's father, who famously clashed with Horner multiple times, is now saying he has complete peace of mind about his son's situation. Think about that for a second. Jos Verstappen finding peace of mind at Red Bull? The same Jos who had public disagreements with the previous leadership? This is like watching oil mix with water. It just doesn't happen unless something fundamental has changed. But let's talk numbers because they tell an incredible story. When Mekies took over, Red Bull was in crisis mode. Max was struggling. The car wasn't competitive, and McLaren was running away with both championships. Fast forward to today, and Verstappen has rattled off 6 consecutive podium finishes, including wins at Monza, Baku, and Austin. He's clawed his way back from what seemed like an impossible deficit to just 36 points behind Lando Norris with 4 races remaining. Jos recently spoke about this transformation, and his words paint a picture of a team reborn. He describes the atmosphere as completely different, emphasizing how much fun Max is having again. When a 4-time world champion who looked defeated just months ago is suddenly enjoying racing again, that's not coincidence. That's leadership, making a difference. The psychological impact here cannot be overstated. Max went from looking stressed and frustrated to approaching this title fight with what Jos calls an open and relaxed attitude. This is the same driver who dominated for years, but somewhere along the way, the joy seemed to disappear. Now it's back, and the results speak for themselves. What makes this story even more compelling is the relationship dynamic. Jose admits he has a strong working relationship with Mickey's, something that was clearly missing with the previous regime. In Formula One, where family tensions can derail entire seasons, having the champion's father fully supportive of team leadership is invaluable. The timing couldn't be more crucial. We're in the final stretch of what many consider the most competitive championship battle in years. Every decision, every strategy call, every psychological advantage matters exponentially. Having a driver who's rediscovered his passion while being backed by unified leadership could be the difference between a fifth title and watching someone else celebrate. But let's be realistic about the challenge ahead. 36 points with 4 races remaining means Max needs everything to go perfectly. One mechanical failure, one strategic mistake, one moment of bad luck, and this remarkable comeback story ends in disappointment. The mathematics are unforgiving at this level. Max himself acknowledged this harsh reality after Mexico, where despite finishing third and nearly catching Charles Leclerc for second, he still lost 10 points to Norris. His honest assessment was telling. Jay, everything needs to go perfect to win, and Mexico wasn't perfect. That's the brutal truth of championship mathematics. Yet there's something different about how he's approaching this pressure. Instead of the tension we saw earlier in the season, there's a calmness that comes from knowing you're in the right environment with the right people. Jose emphasizes that Max's relaxed approach is exactly what's needed right now. The technical side also matters enormously. Under Mickey's leadership, Red Bull has found performance improvements that seemed impossible just months ago. The car that was struggling to compete for podiums is now winning races again. This isn't just about management style. It's about creating an environment where engineers and mechanics can do their best work. Looking at the bigger picture, this story represents something larger than just one season. It's about how leadership changes can unlock potential that seemed permanently lost. Red Bull isn't just fighting for a championship. They're proving that organizational transformation can happen even at the highest levels of motorsport. The psychological warfare aspect is fascinating too. McLaren went from feeling invincible to suddenly looking over their shoulders again. Changes your entire approach to the remaining races. What happens next will define legacies. If Max pulls off this 5th consecutive championship, it won't just be remembered as another title. It'll be remembered as one of the greatest comebacks in Formula One history, made possible by a management change that nobody saw coming, but everyone now recognizes as genius. Whether this transformation leads to championship glory or heartbreaking defeat, one thing is certain. Sometimes the biggest victories happen off the track first. Something absolutely massive is about to drop in the Formula One world, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss one of the most significant moments in recent motorsport history. Audi has just started a countdown clock that's got every F1 fan on the edge of their seat, and what they're planning to reveal could completely change how we think about the 2026 season. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there's literally a timer ticking down on Audi's official website, counting down to November 12th at 8 p.m. GMT. But this isn't just any ordinary countdown. This is the moment we've all been waiting for since Audi first announced they were joining Formula One back in 2022. After years of speculation, development, and anticipation, we're about to see their first concept car reveal. Now, let me explain why this is such a big deal. When major manufacturers like Audi enter Formula One, it doesn't just shake up the grid, it completely transforms the entire landscape of the sport. We're talking about one of the world's most prestigious automotive brands, throwing their full weight behind their own factory Formula One team. This isn't just another engine supplier deal or a simple sponsorship arrangement. Audi is going all in. The German automotive giant is taking over the entire Sauber operation, and they're not messing around. They're using Sauber's existing facilities in Switzerland while simultaneously building up their own operation in Germany. Their Newburgh facility is working around the clock to finalize their power unit design for 2026. And according to team principal Jonathan Wheatley, everything is progressing exactly on schedule. But here's where things get really interesting. This concept car reveal isn't going to show us the actual 2026 race car. That would be way too early, and teams guard those secrets religiously. Instead, this is going to give us our first real glimpse of what Audi's Formula One identity will look like. We're talking about color, schemes, design philosophy, and the overall aesthetic direction they're planning to take when they hit the grid. Think about this for a moment. The last time a major German manufacturer made a full factory entry into Formula One, it completely changed the sport. Audi has dominated endurance racing for decades. They've been incredibly successful in various motorsport categories, and now they're bringing all that expertise, all that engineering excellence, and all that racing DNA directly into Formula One. The timing of this reveal is absolutely perfect too. We're still over a year away from the 2026 season, but the hype machine is already in full swing. Formula One is experiencing unprecedented global popularity right now, and Audi knows that building anticipation early is crucial for creating that emotional connection with fans around the world. What makes this even more exciting is that 2026 represents a massive regulation change in Formula One. New technical rules, new power unit, specifications, and completely different aerodynamic packages. It's the perfect opportunity for a new manufacturer to enter, because everyone's starting from a relatively level playing field. Established teams won't have as much of a development advantage when the rules change so dramatically. Jonathan Wheatley recently gave us some fascinating insights into what's happening behind the scenes. He mentioned that they're in the final development phase for their power unit, focusing heavily on reliability. This is crucial because power unit penalties can absolutely destroy championship campaigns. The fact that they're prioritizing reliability over pure power output shows they understand what it takes to succeed in modern Formula One. However, there are already some interesting rumors circulating about their power unit performance. Some reports suggest that Audi's first Formula One engine might be slightly down on power compared to what Mercedes is expected to produce. Now, these are just rumors, and we won't know the real performance figures until preseason testing begins, but it highlights just how competitive the power unit battle is going to be in 2026. The human element of this story is equally compelling. Wheatley has been talking about their approach to building the team, and it's fascinating to hear how they're balancing external hiring with promoting talent from within. They're not just throwing money at big-name signings. They're building a sustainable structure that can compete at the highest level while developing young talent. This approach makes perfect sense when you consider the budget cap restrictions in modern Formula One. Teams can't just outspend their competition anymore, so building efficient, well-structured organizations becomes absolutely critical. Audi seems to understand this challenge, and they're approaching it methodically. The concept car reveal is just the beginning of what promises to be an incredible journey we're witnessing. The birth of a new factory Formula One team from one of the world's most respected automotive manufacturers. This isn't just about adding another car to the grid. This is about potentially reshaping the entire competitive landscape of Formula One. So mark your calendars for November 12th at 8 p.m. GMT. Set your alarms, clear your schedule, and prepare to witness history in the making. Audi is about to show the world what they've been working on. And after years of waiting, we're finally going to get our first real taste of what's coming in 2026. The countdown has officially begun, and honestly, I can barely contain my excitement for what's about to be revealed. What if I told you that one of Formula One's greatest champions just revealed the secret weapon behind Ferrari's future success? Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion who shocked the motorsport world by leaving Mercedes for the iconic Italian team, has just given us an unprecedented look inside Ferrari's inner workings. And what he's discovered might surprise you more than his move to Maranello itself. Picture this. It's 2025, and one of the most decorated drivers in Formula One history is struggling to find his first podium with Ferrari. The season hasn't gone according to plan. No race wins for the Scuderia. Questions swirling about whether Hamilton made the right choice. But instead of panic or regret, Hamilton is pointing to one man as the reason he's more confident than ever about Ferrari's future. That man? Fred Vasseur, Ferrari's team principal. Now you might be thinking, What's so special about a team boss supporting his star driver? Every team principal says nice things about their drivers, right? But here's where it gets fascinating. Hamilton isn't just talking about generic support or media-friendly soundbites. He's revealing something much deeper about Vasseur's character and approach that goes back nearly 2 decades. The story actually begins long before Hamilton ever wore Ferrari red. Back in the early 2000s, when Hamilton was just a young driver climbing through the junior categories, he worked with Vasseur's team. This wasn't some brief encounter either. Hamilton won both his Formula 3 and GP2 championships under Vasseur's guidance. So when Hamilton describes Vasseur's support as incredible, he's speaking from years of experience, not just a few months in 2025. But here's what makes this relationship truly unique in the cutthroat world of Formula One. According to Hamilton, Vasseur hasn't changed one bit in all these years. Think about that for a moment. In nearly 2 decades, through different teams, different pressures, different levels of success and failure, Vasseur has remained exactly the same person. Hamilton even jokes that Vasseur still wears the same clothes he did back then. This consistency isn't just about personal style, though. It reveals something profound about Vasseur's character and leadership philosophy. In a sport where people often change their approach based on politics, pressure, or personal gain, Vasseur has stayed true to his core principles. And what are those principles? Hamilton gives us the answer. It's all about car performance. Here's where the story gets really interesting. Hamilton explains that while other teams he worked with in the lower categories focused their spending on various areas, sometimes prioritizing marketing, facilities, or other flashy elements, Vasseur was laser-focused on what actually makes cars go faster. Aerodynamics, performance, the technical stuff that wins races but doesn't always make headlines. This focus on substance over style is exactly what Hamilton admires most about Vasseur. He describes the Frenchman as a straight shooter and a massive competitor. These aren't just nice character traits in Formula One. They're essential qualities for building a championship-winning team. In a sport filled with politics and mind games, having a leader who cuts through the noise and focuses on what really matters is invaluable. Now, let's talk about why this matters for Ferrari's future. The 2025 season hasn't been the dream debut Hamilton hoped for. Ferrari sits third in the Constructors' Championship, trailing Mercedes by 27 points. Hamilton is still chasing his first Ferrari podium. For a driver who's used to winning, and a team with Ferrari's history and expectations, this could easily create tension and finger-pointing. Instead, Hamilton is taking a remarkably mature and strategic view of the situation. He openly acknowledges that it hasn't been a perfect year, but he's framing these struggles as valuable learning experiences. More importantly, he's saying he'd rather have these growing pains now, when they're not fighting for a championship, than later when every point matters. This perspective reveals something crucial about both Hamilton and Vasseur's approach. They're playing the long game. They understand that building a championship-winning team takes time, patience, and the ability to learn from setbacks. Every race is providing data and insights that will make them stronger in the future. Hamilton describes the current Ferrari team as more solid and united than ever before. This is significant because unity is often the first casualty when results don't meet expectations. The fact that Hamilton feels this way, despite the challenging season, speaks volumes about Vasseur's leadership and the culture he's building at Ferrari. The trust between Hamilton and Vasseur runs so deep that Hamilton can see past the immediate results to the bigger picture. He recognizes that Vasseur's unwavering focus on car performance, the same quality he admired 20 years ago, is exactly what Ferrari needs to return to the top of Formula One. Ferrari clearly shares this confidence in Vasseur. Despite reports questioning his future, the team doubled down by signing him to a new multi-year contract during the summer. This wasn't just a vote of confidence. It was a statement that Ferrari believes in Vasseur's vision and approach. What makes this story even more compelling is how it challenges our assumptions about success in Formula One. We're used to seeing immediate results, quick fixes, and constant changes when things don't go according to plan. But Hamilton and Vasseur are showing us a different path. They're demonstrating that sometimes the best foundation for future success is built during the most challenging moments. The relationship between Hamilton and Vasseur represents something special in modern Formula One. It's built on genuine respect, shared history, and aligned values. Hamilton isn't just driving for Vasseur, he's believing in him. And that belief, based on nearly 2 decades of knowing each other, might just be the secret ingredient that eventually brings Ferrari back to championship glory. So while 2025 might not have delivered the immediate success everyone hoped for, it's laying the groundwork for something potentially much bigger. With Hamilton's experience and Vasseur's unwavering focus on performance, Ferrari might be building something truly special. Sometimes the most important victories happen long before anyone crosses the finish line first.